joined by Major Mike Lyons, former U.S. Army major and military analyst. Great to have you here. Before I get to anything, I want to ask about the downing of this refueling tanker that went down over Iraq just now. What are you hearing? We know that it was not shot down, and it wasn't an incident of friendly fire as like when we lost the 2 fighter jets in Kuwait.
Yeah, the CENTCOM, the reports are just initially with some kind of mechanical failure or something. The unfortunate issue about that plane is it doesn't have ejector seats. And
so the crew can't eject out?
No, they can't eject out of it. It's a large lumbering plane full of fuel.
We don't know if it was full or empty when it went down.
It was, high op tempo. There's lots of things, lots of air traffic control issues going on there. We know there was another plane that was also involved with this as well.
Did they bump into each other?
They could have. Again, this is a deconflicting a very tight airspace that's there. The only thing we could hope for is that's one of the most austere places on the planet, and it's wide open. And if the pilot had any chance to save it and land, there was a lot of space to do that. So let's hope we get some more information back, and let's hope that crew gets back safely.
Yeah, or they find some space to land safely. It would be a lot easier if that tanker was empty, having just fueled up with, or given fuel to a lot of the jets who are working in that area. Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. The president has been saying we've won.
Right.
Seems a little premature. The regime is still intact. There's a new Ayatollah in town, and the Strait of Hormuz is closed to almost all oil traffic. The only tankers getting through, by the way, are Iranian oil tankers.
Right. And those earmarked for China. I'm listening to the chairman. The chairman says they're 90% degraded right now, the Iranian military. But if they have 10,000 ballistic missiles to start, that still leaves them 1,000 plus or minus more. So they still have military capability here. But unfortunately, in the Strait in particular, it's opened up this second maritime front. We control the airspace. We control that part of the, we dominate there, but we're just not dominating in the maritime space, right? And Iran has come at us with drones and other asymmetrical
even
kind of things.
Sea drones, which they're using in the Strait.
Underwater autonomous. And again, I'm not sure that we were prepared for that fight, for the level of swarming. The naval equipment that's there is designed to protect our carriers and designed to be air defense platforms. But they're fighting now a close-in battle. They're going to have to fight potentially Iranian forces that are on the shoreline, asymmetrical units coming from the Revolutionary Guard units, and then as well as ballistic missiles that'll be fired at those carriers. So the Navy's got a long task in order to assure those carriers are going to make their way through the Straits.
And every day that passes, of course, the Iranian plan is working because the price of oil is rising, the stock markets are tumbling, people are freaking out because even though there's enough oil right now, they're looking down the line and, and thinking there won't be enough later.
Yeah, Elizabeth, it's a classic, they win by not losing. They're trying to fight a war of attrition in the air, attrit our interceptors and attrit the way we take out their ballistic missiles. And they fired a few, about a dozen or so a couple of days ago, but they're trying to, keep that powder dry, so to speak, and opening up this second front now in the Persian Gulf creates real problems, I think, for our Navy.
I want to talk to you about these preliminary assessments by the Pentagon that it was the U.S. military that fired the missile that blew up the all-girls school in Iran on the very first day of the war. It killed 175 people. Most of them were little girls. Apparently, according to preliminary assessments by the Pentagon, this was faulty intelligence from the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, that put this school on a target list. Even though it had been a school and not part of the military compound that was on the same block for 10 years. How did this little girl's school end up as a target?
Yeah, I'm glad at least CENTCOM are coming out and saying that preliminary shows that it was.
They're not actually saying that.
Well, I'm seeing that this investigation is going to start, and it's going to show that we're at fault to this. And
it's become quite political.
Right, an intelligence failure. There's no reason that that target should have been on that list there after 10 years. Then a verification failure, right? These are targets that were
a series of failures here.
Multiple parts of this war, and these are multiple targets right of the way. It was that important. And then lastly, when it was finally hit, it was struck 3 times, and so it was that important. There should have been multiple human interaction into that target to make sure it was legit. We are the kind of country that should admit that, should apologize, should move forward with this because our enemies just take advantage of it when we don't.
Yeah, that's exactly the point that the Republican Senator John Kennedy made, saying we made a mistake, we should admit it and apologize because we don't do this. That's what makes us different, and it gives our enemies ammunition when we don't. Hopefully we will hear more word from the Pentagon soon. Major, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Really appreciate you being here.